Ever since I was but a wee lad, my parents offered me the same unchanging advice. Do not, child, under any circumstances, use GOTO. Their words may have well been the gospel itself, for I heeded them with unyielding obedience. As I grew, I would scoff at my peers as they peppered their code with GOTO after GOTO. This amusement grew to superiority as my ego would inflame with apocalyptic predictions for their projects. Ah, there on line 312, I'd smirk. What about it? Nothing, nothing. We can learn from projects we don't intend to maintain as well. Meanwhile, I relaxed, convinced my code would be of Ozymandian proportions, outlasting not only its creator, but entire epochs of computation itself. Surely I walked the plane of enlightenment, blessed with digestible, easily flowing code and architecture which the Parthenon paled in comparison to. After many years of this, a tale as old as time would begin anew. I met a woman, and she met me. It was there in the back seat, amidst the condensation, that I would finally lose my innocence. I hurriedly bid her farewell before any fanfare, as there was no time for mirth nor merry. Panic had set in, and despite the heat, the chill pierced my very soul. For, you see, I had come to a realization which rocked my very core. I made it home in a dizzying stupor and pounded away at the keyboard. Sure enough, my worst fears had come to confront me. I, all this time, was wrong in my dogma. Allow me to paint you a picture. A loop is a primitive construct, gracefully allowing us to demand more from one. A loop in a loop, slightly less primitive, but exponentially more interesting. Perhaps, say, this inner loop has an exit condition, and we wish to retreat from all iteration upon its confirmation. We could, of course, include a check for it in the loop's predicate, but alas, this is not enough. We would in fact need another such check in the loop above. This redundancy is something I have tolerated for years in blissful ignorance, but I was ignorant no longer. Deftly, I sinned. I paused before compilation. Committing a thought crime was one beast. Writing, a beast more foul. But submitting adultery to the fairies that lie within the silicon, well, may the fates spare my soul damnation. I watched, in both horror and fascination, as the compiler accepted my filth without complaint. Even more surprising, it worked flawlessly. I sat back, mouth agape, expecting an eldritch being to reach forth from the depths and drag me to the suffering I deserved. A minute passed. 5. 10. While I awaited doom, I pondered my prose. The usage of the slur seemed acceptable? Desirable, even? The jump was incredibly short. Surely no one would confuse it for spaghetti, and it reduced redundancy and cognitive burden. Have I surpassed the wisdom of the ancients? I turned off my computer and succumbed to fidgety slumber. In the morning, I awoke with a newfound appreciation of life. Not only was this discovery acceptable, it was destiny. With this trick, I was destined for greatness. At first, I was merely taught the rules, but now I rule over the teachings. I progressed as such, accomplishing more than I had ever dreamed possible. I climbed every ladder placed in front of me. My ascension would strike fear into the gods themselves. Such was my approach to their domain. Or so I thought. For one day, I was sitting in the corporate cafeteria, enjoying my lunch, when an old, gray-haired, questionably hygienic man presented himself as company. I smirked and assumed he was below me, perhaps a Python engineer. That is, until our eyes met. In those eyes, I saw death and birth a million times over. I saw the pain only accomplishment can bring. Like an old CRT TV, compilation errors burned into his corneas, unreasonable customer demands stained his hands, and the weight of a misunderstanding management arched his back. I realized who I was looking at. A legacy codebase senior engineer. I gulped. As he ate, he pounded away at a laptop, and I could not help but take a peek. I saw things I pray no mortal ever lay eyes upon again, most curious of which were spurious go-tos, laid bare with nary a loop in sight. Sir, if I may ask, is that not a questionable practice at best? Perhaps if you were escaping from nested loops? My voice trailed off as he gazed upon me with fire. Son, have you really never heard of deferring? Well, yes, but C lacks such a keyword. Lacks? Are you really so naive? It is laid out here in front of your very eyes. He jammed his finger at the go-to, of course, careful not to touch his screen and leave a fingerprint. I stared in hopeless confusion. He sighed. I'll program a house, he says. A house? Yes, Junior, a house. You wish to enter a house. What do you do? He asks. I unlock my door. That will work. He quickly writes down the beginnings of a skeleton. Then what? I turn on the lights. Sure, he says, typing away. Then? How about start the heater? Good, you never warm an empty house. He looks at me for quite some time. Do you see the issue? I stare for too long before he interrupts my lack of progress. You may have left the key at your place of work. Unlocking your door will return an error if this is the case. Deal with that, if it happens. Very well. Your electricity bill may be past due. Go pay it, if it is. That's most likely a good idea. You may have forgotten to pay the gas. Understood. He stares at me some more. I tried my best. I begin to see the issue, but this is merely a problem intrinsic to software. Not every redundancy can be eliminated. He stayed quiet, before conceding and taking the laptop from me. Without a word, he began typing. By the time I realized my eyes were wet, he was already gone. There was always more to learn.